Sparta stands as one of the most intriguing and distinctive societies in ancient Greek history. Located in the Peloponnese region of southern Greece, this city-state developed a unique social and military system that would become legendary throughout the ancient world. Unlike other Greek city-states that focused on commerce, arts, and philosophy, Sparta created a society entirely dedicated to military excellence and discipline. The Spartan civilization emerged around the 9th century BCE in the region of Laconia, developing a social structure that was radically different from its contemporaries. Their entire societal framework was meticulously designed to produce the most formidable warriors in the Greek world. From birth, Spartan citizens were groomed for military service, with a training system so intense and comprehensive that it would become synonymous with extreme discipline and physical prowess. What made Sparta truly exceptional was its ability to transform an entire population into a living, breathing military machine. Every aspect of Spartan life was subordinated to the goal of military supremacy. Young boys were removed from their families at the age of 7 and entered the rigorous agoge system, a state-sponsored education program that focused on physical training, martial skills, endurance, and unwavering loyalty to the state. The Spartan social structure was complex and hierarchical. At the top were the Spartiates, full citizens who were exclusively dedicated to military training and service. Below them were the Perioikoi, free non-citizens who handled trade and crafts, and at the bottom were the Helots, a subjugated population that worked the land and supported the Spartan economy, allowing citizens to focus entirely on military preparation. Their military reputation was built on several key principles: absolute obedience, collective responsibility, and an unbreakable spirit of sacrifice for the state. The famous Battle of Thermopylae, where 300 Spartan warriors held off thousands of Persian soldiers, epitomizes their martial culture. This single event became a symbol of courage, discipline, and strategic brilliance that would echo through centuries of military history. The Spartan military system was so advanced for its time that it created a nearly invincible fighting force. Their legendary phalanx formation, where warriors fought shoulder to shoulder with interlocking shields, became a template for military strategy that would be studied and emulated for generations. This introduction sets the stage for a deeper exploration of Sparta's extraordinary society. We will delve into their social structures, military training, cultural practices, and the philosophical principles that transformed a small Greek city-state into a military power that would be remembered and respected for millennia. Spartan education was a revolutionary and unparalleled system in the ancient world, designed with one primary objective: to create the most formidable warriors in human history. The entire educational approach was a meticulously crafted mechanism of physical, mental, and psychological conditioning that transformed children into elite soldiers dedicated entirely to state and military service. At the heart of Spartan education was the agoge, a state-mandated training program that began at the incredibly young age of 7. This was not merely an educational system, but a comprehensive societal mechanism for molding young Spartan males into perfect soldiers. When boys were 7 years old, they were literally taken from their families and entered a communal education system that was designed to break individual identity and forge collective strength. Imagine a training system so intense, so transformative, that it turned mere boys into the most feared warriors of the ancient world. This was the Spartan agoge, not just a school, but a crucible where the raw metal of youth was hammered into the steel of warriors. Picture a 7-year-old boy, stripped of comfort, facing the harsh Greek winters with barely any clothing. His feet are bare against the rocky ground, every step a lesson in endurance. Hunger is his constant companion, not because food isn't available, but because learning to function while hungry was as crucial as learning to wield a spear. These young warriors in training didn't just exercise, they were pushed to the very limits of human endurance. Wrestling in the dust under the scorching sun, running until their legs trembled, fighting until their bodies ached. But physical pain was just the beginning. The real transformation happened in their minds. Consider this: young Spartans were regularly subjected to public beatings, not as punishment but as training. They learned to stand proud, faces unflinching, as the lash fell. Pain became their teacher, showing them that physical suffering was temporary, but glory was eternal. But perhaps most fascinating was their approach to resourcefulness. These boys were deliberately underfed, forced to supplement their meager rations through cunning and stealth. In any other society, this would be called theft. In Sparta, it was considered essential education, teaching future warriors to think strategically, move silently, and survive by their wits. And then there were the women of Sparta. Unlike anything else in the ancient world, while Athens kept its women behind closed doors, Sparta trained them to be strong, educated, and fierce. They ran, they wrestled, they competed in athletics. Why? Because Sparta understood that strong mothers would birth strong warriors. These women weren't just bearing children. They were forging the next generation of defenders. The intellectual training was equally uncompromising. Young Spartans learned military tactics like others learned their alphabet. They studied strategy not from books, but from veterans who had faced death on the battlefield. Every lesson, every exercise, every moment was focused on one goal: creating the perfect warrior. They were taught to speak little and act decisively, giving birth to the term laconic. A Spartan's words, like his sword thrusts, had to be precise and powerful. When Philip of Macedon threatened, "If I enter Laconia, I will raze Sparta to the ground," the Spartans replied with one word: if. This system created warriors who weren't just physically superior, but psychologically unbreakable. They learned to view death in battle as the highest honor, retreat as the ultimate shame. Their loyalty was not to themselves, but to Sparta, a loyalty sealed in blood and forged in the fires of the most demanding military training the world had ever seen. The agoge wasn't just an education system. It was a transformation machine that took children and produced warriors so formidable that their reputation still echoes through history. These weren't just soldiers. They were the living embodiment of martial excellence, the product of a society that had perfected the art of creating warriors. At age 20, graduates of the agoge became full Spartan citizens and were integrated into military units. They continued training and were expected to serve in the military until age 60. The Spartan educational system was unprecedented in human history. It represented a total societal commitment to military excellence, where education was not about individual growth but about creating the most effective collective fighting force possible. This system produced warriors who were not just physically superior but psychologically transformed into living weapons, completely devoted to their city-state and its martial ideals. Spartan warriors represented the pinnacle of military excellence in the ancient world. Known as hoplites, these soldiers were far more than mere fighters. They were the living embodiment of a culture completely dedicated to martial prowess, discipline, and collective strength. The Spartan military was uniquely structured around its citizen soldiers. Unlike other ancient armies, every Spartan male was essentially born into a military career. Their entire social system was designed to produce the most formidable warriors in human history. In the sun-baked valleys of ancient Greece, there arose a society of warriors so legendary that their name still echoes through the corridors of time. These were the Spartans, not just soldiers, but living embodiments of warfare itself. Let us journey through their world, piece by piece, to understand what made them extraordinary. First, imagine their imposing silhouette on the battlefield. The Aspes shield, a masterpiece of ancient engineering, was their constant companion. Made of bronze and wood, it weighed as much as a small child, yet in Spartan hands, it moved like an extension of their own body. When they stood together, these shields formed what enemies called the Wall of Bronze, an impenetrable barrier that few dared to challenge. Their armor was a symphony of protection and mobility. The bronze cuirass, hammered to fit each warrior perfectly, gleamed like liquid metal in the sunlight. Their helmets, with their distinctive plumes, transformed men into figures of terror, faceless, fearless, unstoppable. The greaves that protected their legs allowed them to move with deadly grace, like bronze lions stalking their prey. But it was their weapon mastery that truly set them apart. The dory spear, longer than a tall man, was their primary tool of death. Imagine 3 meters of ash wood and iron, wielded with precision that would make a surgeon envious. And should an enemy survive to come close, the Xiphos sword would ensure they regretted that decision. Short, brutal, and efficient, like everything in Spartan life. The phalanx formation was their masterpiece. Picture 8 ranks deep of the finest warriors in the ancient world, moving as one organism. Shields overlapping, spears bristling forward in waves. They were an unstoppable force of nature. Each man protected his neighbor's vulnerable right side, creating a brotherhood forged in bronze and blood. From the tender age of 7, Spartan boys entered the agoge, their legendary training system. This wasn't just military training, it was a complete transformation of body and soul. They learned to endure pain without complaint, to fight with weapons that would become as familiar as their own limbs, to move in formation as naturally as breathing. They were taught that their individual lives meant nothing compared to the glory of Sparta. Consider Thermopylae, their finest hour. 300 Spartans, standing against the might of Persia. The narrow pass became their stage, where they performed the ultimate demonstration of Spartan warfare. For 3 days, they held back an empire, showing the world that superior numbers mean nothing against superior training and indomitable will. Their philosophical approach to warfare was unique. While other armies sought glory through individual heroics, Spartans found their greatness in unity. Their society was built on 3 pillars: discipline, courage, and collective strength. They didn't just practice warfare, they lived it, breathed it, became it. Their innovations changed military history forever. They showed that professional soldiers, trained from childhood and dedicated entirely to warfare, could achieve what armies of citizens could only dream of. Their tactical understanding, their battlefield communication, their psychological warfare, all were centuries ahead of their time. Even today, their influence resonates. Modern military units still study their principles of unit cohesion and disciplined warfare. Their legacy lives on in every army that values training, discipline, and collective action over individual glory. The Spartans weren't just warriors. They were the perfect marriage of physical prowess and militant philosophy, of individual skill and collective might. They showed us that true strength lies not in the individual, but in the unbreakable bonds between warriors who train, fight, and die together. Spartan society represented one of the most unique and rigidly structured social systems in ancient history. Unlike other Greek city-states that developed diverse economic, cultural, and intellectual pursuits, Sparta created a civilization entirely dedicated to military excellence and state survival. Spartan society was a remarkably intricate structure, meticulously organized to maintain a strict social hierarchy and sustain its militaristic ideals. At the top of this hierarchy stood the Spartiates, or full citizens, exclusively male warriors who were the heart of Spartan power. They alone held the privilege of political rights, and their lives were wholly dedicated to military service. Unlike other societies, where governance and economy might involve different social classes, the Spartiates were the absolute guardians of Sparta's destiny. They underwent rigorous lifelong military training from a young age, forging their skills and minds to serve the state above all else. Their wealth lay in land ownership, although they did not work the land themselves. This task fell to the Helots, who provided the necessary labor. The Spartiates' role was singular and crucial: to defend, lead, and uphold the values of Spartan society without distraction. Below the Spartiates were the perioikoi, the free non-citizens who lived in the surrounding territories and contributed to Sparta's economic foundation. While they did not enjoy the full political rights of the Spartiates, the perioikoi played an indispensable role in the state. They were artisans, traders, and craftspeople, tasked with sustaining the economic machinery of Sparta through their skills in manufacturing and technical expertise. Without their contributions, the Spartans' closed economy, focused heavily on the necessities of war, would not have been feasible. The perioikoi's presence allowed the Spartiates to remain entirely focused on military affairs while securing essential goods and services that supported Spartan society. At the base of this hierarchy were the Helots, the state-owned slaves whose existence was crucial to the Spartan economy. These individuals were the descendants of populations conquered by Sparta, effectively making them lifelong servants of the state. The Helots worked the land that supported the Spartan citizens, producing the food and resources needed for daily survival. However, their role was precarious and marked by strict control and harsh treatment to prevent rebellion. Constantly monitored and subjected to severe regulation, the Helots represented a significant yet vulnerable component of Spartan society, underscoring the dependency of Sparta on their labor and obedience to sustain its unique structure. The political system of Sparta was equally distinctive, governed by a rare dual monarchy. This system featured 2 hereditary kings, each from one of 2 royal families, the Agiads and the Eurypontids, ensuring a balance of power at the very top of Spartan leadership. These kings were not merely figureheads. They held substantial authority as military leaders, commanding armies in battle, and as religious figures, leading significant ceremonies. However, the king's power was far from absolute and was checked by various complementary institutions that balanced Spartan governance. One such institution was the Gerousia, or the Council of Elders, which consisted of 30 members, including the 2 kings and Spartan men over 60. This council wielded considerable influence, preparing legislative proposals and acting as the supreme judicial body. Alongside the Gerousia was the Apella, or the Popular Assembly, a gathering of Spartan citizens that held limited yet essential political power. The Apella was responsible for approving or rejecting proposals from the Gerousia and electing key political and military leaders, which allowed citizen participation within the rigid framework of Spartan law. Another critical institution was the group of ephors, 5 annually elected officials who possessed extensive administrative and judicial powers. The ephors were unique in their role as they had the authority to counterbalance the royal power, including the ability to prosecute or even depose kings, thus maintaining a crucial balance within Spartan governance. Spartan society itself was engineered with a single purpose: preparing for war. Every aspect of their social structure and cultural philosophy was directed toward this ultimate goal. Spartan institutions fostered an environment where individual interests were systematically subordinated to the needs of the state, enforcing an ethos of extreme discipline and collective orientation. This militaristic philosophy also meant that Sparta deliberately limited its economic activities and cultural expressions to focus almost entirely on war-related pursuits. Luxuries, individual art, or intellectual endeavors were shunned, as every resource and effort was directed toward maintaining a strong, efficient, and loyal military force. In contrast to other Greek city-states, Spartan women enjoyed a remarkable degree of freedom and responsibility. Unlike their counterparts elsewhere, Spartan women received physical training, which was thought to strengthen them and produce healthier offspring fit for the demands of Spartan life. These women were allowed to own and manage property and held considerable social and economic rights. They were instrumental in fostering the militaristic ethos within society, acting not only as mothers but also as guardians of Spartan values, further enhancing the strength and endurance of the state. Education in Sparta was a rigorous affair, with military training prioritized above all else. From an early age, Spartan children were introduced to a system that suppressed individual expression, aiming to mold each person into an unbreakable part of the collective. Physical and psychological conditioning were carried to extremes, ensuring that Spartan youth grew into resilient warriors prepared for any hardship. This collective survival mechanism, built upon discipline and unity, left little room for personal pursuits, creating a society that scorned intellectual and artistic endeavors in favor of functional skills that could directly benefit the state. To maintain this rigid structure, Spartans developed sophisticated mechanisms of control, both psychological and cultural. Surveillance, public shaming, and carefully managed reward and punishment systems were embedded in Spartan life, creating an environment where each individual's actions reflected upon the whole. Through these techniques, Spartans cultivated a collective responsibility that discouraged any deviation from societal norms. Individual identity was systematically dissolved, fostering absolute loyalty to the state and a life dedicated to Spartan ideals. The philosophical foundation of Spartan society was based on unwavering loyalty to the state, willingness to sacrifice for the greater good, and the pursuit of martial excellence. This focus on a minimalist lifestyle, devoid of luxury or personal ambition, reinforced their martial discipline, as personal desires were suppressed in favor of the collective. The legacy of this social philosophy endures as a powerful historical example of the human capacity for societal engineering, demonstrating the extent to which collective conditioning can shape behaviors and foster loyalty to specific societal objectives. Despite the significant achievements of Spartan society, there were inherent weaknesses. The limitations of their strict structure included restricted population growth and a heavy dependence on slave labor, both of which left Sparta vulnerable over time. The rigidity of their social systems also hindered their ability to adapt to the evolving landscape of warfare and regional power dynamics, making them susceptible to demographic and technological challenges. Sparta, ultimately, stands as a unique case in human history, a radical experiment in social organization and human potential. It represents the power and risks of collective conditioning and serves as a profound case study in the possibilities and limitations of societal engineering. The Spartan legacy offers lasting insights into the dynamics of cultural transformation, highlighting both the strengths and vulnerabilities of a society engineered for extreme conditions. The Spartan social system was a radical experiment in human organization, representing an unprecedented attempt to create a society entirely dedicated to military excellence. By subordinating every aspect of human experience to martial objectives, Sparta created a civilization that was simultaneously admired and feared. Sparta's legacy extends far beyond its historical period, representing a profound case study in human social organization, military strategy, and collective discipline. The Spartan model continues to fascinate scholars, military strategists, and cultural historians worldwide. The military legacy of Sparta has shaped societies far beyond its own time, establishing a powerful precedent in the art of war. Spartan warriors were pioneers in developing advanced tactical formations, showcasing the impact of organized, systematic training that would redefine battle strategies across generations. Their discipline set a benchmark that influenced military doctrines worldwide, a testament to the indomitable Spartan spirit and innovation. Sparta's influence extended beyond the battlefield, leaving an indelible mark on philosophy and culture. Their approach to strategic thinking promoted long-term planning and prioritized collective welfare over individual interests. Spartans established comprehensive social systems, instilling societal cohesion through rigorous training and organizational frameworks. Leadership, to them, was a principle of personal sacrifice, intense accountability, and continuous challenge, forging individuals into integral parts of a powerful collective. In modern times, Spartan principles find resonance in various domains. Elite military units across the globe incorporate Spartan-style tactics and psychological conditioning into their training. In the corporate world, these principles translate into team-building strategies, performance-driven cultures, and organizational discipline models that emphasize resilience and adaptability. Similarly, sports and athletics draw from Spartan methods, focusing on high-performance training, mental toughness, and systematic skill development. The psychological and social insights from Spartan society reveal humanity's potential for collective transformation. Their structured social engineering demonstrated the power of aligning individual identity with collective goals, utilizing psychological conditioning as a unifying mechanism. However, scholars today also view the Spartan model with a critical eye, assessing the ethical limitations, human rights concerns, and psychological costs of a system that suppressed individual expression in favor of militaristic values. The image of the Spartan warrior endures as a global symbol of discipline, courage, and collective triumph. Their innovations, from advanced organizational techniques to societal goal-setting, transcended military applications, inspiring modern leadership development and strategic frameworks. Today, Spartan principles echo in leadership programs emphasizing resilience, cohesive teamwork, and strategic planning. In personal growth, these ideas inspire mental toughness, goal-setting, and overcoming psychological barriers. While in organizations, they encourage adaptive strategies and collective mindsets. Despite their achievements, it is essential to acknowledge the ethical considerations surrounding the Spartan way of life. Modern perspectives recognize the importance of individual rights, the risks of extreme collectivism, and the need for balanced societal development, underscoring the value of embracing diverse human potential. Sparta, ultimately, represents a radical experiment in social organization and human capability. It serves as a profound historical case study in the complexities of societal engineering and collective human potential. Through its history, Sparta continues to offer insights into the dynamics of cultural transformation, providing complex models of societal organization and showcasing the extent of human potential when tested under extreme conditions. The Spartan legacy transcends historical boundaries, offering enduring lessons about human potential, collective achievement, and the profound power of systematic, disciplined approaches to complex challenges. Their story reminds us that extraordinary results emerge not just from individual brilliance, but from comprehensive systems that transform individual capabilities into collective strength.